always lit over at AJsRANTroom.com. We got the best bags and accessories, our beloved Black Series. We got fresh lids for you hat lovers, fire jackets and hoodies, and of course we got you covered on the t-shirts. And introducing our first shoe line, Aloysius Germain. So get on over to AJsRANTroom.com today and get to shopping. You won't be disappointed.
I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We good? Y'all good? It's good. We good. They good. All's good. I'm a little off center here, but I didn't have time to adjust all of that. Anyway, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, y'all are literally proving my point right now, but we will get to that later. How people gonna prove my point right out the gate? Anyway, can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? We good. Thank you. Appreciate it, Amy. So you saw the thumbnail of the show, so you know where we're gonna go with this, but we're gonna cover a couple of topics beforehand, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of everything. Cut up from there. Anyway, so I'm gonna be talking about Michael Jackson until April, just so y'all know. So I don't care. With that said, the king of pop, rock, and soul has entered the books yet again, the history books yet again, as he becomes the first artist in history to chart inside the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100 in 6 distinct decades. Now, I was trying to give him 7 because technically, the Jackson 5's first single was released in October 1969, I Want You Back. But it didn't top the charts until January, the last week of January 1970. But I don't know when I was trying to find when it entered the top 10, but I couldn't find it before we got on air. But if it entered the top 10 before 1970, then yes, it will be 7 decades and not 6. But, it is what it is. We'll take 6. 6 is still a record. So, and probably, Mariah Carey's probably going to live for another 100 years. So she'll probably break that record at Christmas time over the next, 25 years. But anyway, so yeah, obviously excited about the King of Pop dropping the biopic Michael. I'm still deciding on my outfit. I don't know if I'm gonna dress up or just go as AJ. I don't know. Maybe I'll just wear like a hat. Maybe I'll wear like a fedora and just wear like sweats and a fedora. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I got a little bit of time. Anyway, congratulations to King of Pop. Keep doing your thing. Obviously, there's all these people. Oh, is this person the new Michael? This person's bigger than Michael. None of you will ever be bigger than Michael. So just be you. Be you. And no one's saying you're not great. You're great at what you do, but you're not Michael Jackson. That's never going to happen again. It's never going to happen again. And then also you have to consider the time period, once again, in which Michael Jackson happened. Michael Jackson happened before social media. Michael Jackson happened before you could reach fans by hitting send, right? You had to have whole teams of people. You had like a room full of, artists would be on the phone all day doing interviews, with different magazines and outlets and satellite over across the world, talking to people at 3 a.m. in Australia because that's what you had to do back in those days. Now y'all got it pretty good, which is pretty dope. And imagine if Michael Jackson had all that right now. Oh, it'd be insane. Anyway. Um, and one more story before we get to my rant. The Grammys. Now, the Grammys is kind of like the 2020 election, right? We know it wasn't quite right, but we can't prove it. I'm just saying. We know something not really good here, but we can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt unless somebody who's on the inside starts talking. That's the only way we're ever going to find out. If somebody on the inside starts talking. Now, there's this woman named Deborah Dugan. Now, she sued the Academy back in 2020 after she got fired, and she got an undisclosed settlement. Now, the Academy tried to buy her silence and said, hey, don't go out there telling our secrets. We'll pay you a little extra. She said, get out of here. The way y'all threw me out to the wolves and dismissed me and discarded me, hell no, I'm telling everything. So here she is.
Have to tell your truth.
Deborah Dugan says last week the Recording Academy offered her millions of dollars if she would keep her silence. She refused.
Is the awards process corrupt? It's rigged.
12,000 Academy members vote to determine the top 20 nominees for a Grammy Award. But Dugan, alongside her attorney, says committees who pick the final nominees can be influenced.
You're saying that in some cases, the nominating process has the involvement of people who have an interest in the nominations, artists who might be nominated are in the room.
Absolutely. And not just the artists, it's the people who have business affiliations with the artists as well.
Could represent the artist.
Are in the room.
Yes.
What about the allegation that artists have made that it is predominantly white, that the decisions are being made by males? Is that true?
It is true. It's predominantly white males that call the shots.
She says Sunday night, artists up for Song of the Year took spots from Ariana Grande and Ed Sheeran.
When you move somebody up, somebody comes out. And I was in the room and I did see that happen.
The Academy said today spurious allegations claiming members or committees use our process to push forward nominations for artists they have relationships with are categorically false, misleading, and wrong. Dugan took over the Academy from CEO Neil Portnow and is now
81 million votes. Yes. Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Shut up. That's literally what that reminds me of. How in the world? Okay. So now you have somebody from the inside. She has nothing to lose at this point. So what the hell? I got paid out and I'm still mad. So the fact somebody's probably telling the truth when they got paid out and they're still so pissed that they want to tell more. That's it. Because generally people take the money and they shut up, right? She said, nah, I'm telling everything. But we know, listen, we've known for years that most of these award shows, I'll probably say all of them, are rigged, right? And a lot of times rigged for popularity. People, again, in the room. How the hell are you going to be in the room for your own nomination? How are you going to be in the room to negotiate your nomination? That is the most ridiculous thing ever. So yeah, we already know this. And also, I remember, I don't know if some of y'all probably don't watch my podcast, The Rant Experience, but I did a whole segment on artists who've never won a Grammy. And it was a long list. It was a long list of artists, some barely nominated. Great artists. Maybe I'll splice that and post it as its own post, because I do think that's still good to bring to the attention. Then also, even Michael Jackson, who we just talked about, his relationship with the Grammys, he won 1 Grammy for Off the Wall. He was like, never again. Won 8 for Thriller, and then they brought him back for the Bad album, and then had him sit there through all those nominations, and he didn't get 1 award, and he said never again. And I don't think Michael Jackson ever attended the Grammys again. He got that lifetime achievement award or whatever, but he never went back to go back. Like, never. Yeah, I ain't ever gonna do this to me again. And I performed. I'm Michael Jackson. But how the hell you gonna have me sitting here and not award me anyway? So we know these award shows are rigged. We know we're
making dramatic accusations about him.
It is, I believe, a fact that he, as the head of the Recording Academy, did have sex with a young woman.
Oh, I didn't know. Wait, I don't remember that part being in there. Hold on. Listen. I thought this was in the other video, not this video. I thought it was in the other video I watched. Oh, Jesus.
Who would love to get a Grammy. So that in itself, I think, is a fireable offense.
But Portnow says the board's executive committee conducted an investigation and he was completely exonerated.
I mean, what? I mean, the only way you would know is if they streamed it like Shannon Sharp by accident. But they did a DNA test on. Let me shut up.
The Academy also says Dugan never raised these grave allegations until after her former assistant filed a complaint against her for a toxic and intolerable work environment and engaging in abusive and bullying conduct.
Were you abusive?
I was not abusive.
Dugan says musical artists are reaching out in support, while Grammy organizers blame her for stealing music's big night. Kate Snow, NBC News, New York.
Please. Nobody stole music's big night. You know who stole music's big night? Y'all. And, I just find it when people say someone's difficult to work with, I often find that they're probably not. They just know what they want and how they want it, and you just don't like the person that's saying it. But hey, there are some people that are difficult to work with. Anyway, so nothing we didn't already know. Anyway, we'll be back for the main rant. That's right. Rant Christmas is here. Rant Christmas is here. So head on over. Whatever. Ready. All right, cool. So let's talk about this, y'all. So a lot has been going through my mind lately with this whole, not just the conservative situation, but also politics in general. And also, what are people in it? What are people really in this for? Now, I can't say that I know what someone's intentions are, but I can just watch how people move. And you can really see how a lot of times being very divisive is often a very tall tale sign that somebody is probably not in this for the right reasons. Because in all, in a not perfect world, but in an ideal world, politics, you can have your disagreements, but you should be able to come to the table and have a conversation when it's time, right? You should be able to put on your big pants and come to the table and have the conversation. But a lot of times we find ourselves in these situations where people are so divisive that we're like, who is this? And I don't recognize it. And then they label themselves conservative. And then they, I'm a conservative. And it's like, nah, you're not a conservative. You're a right winger. You have jumped off the cliff, and no conservative is going to follow you off that cliff. And but I just want to talk about the grifting, the backbiting, the craziness, because a lot of times these people will mask it as, they're patriotic, they believe in American values and blah, 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 blah. And then 2 seconds later, they're caught up in some scandal, or they're yelling at their wives on the ring cam, and you're like, okay, But 2 seconds ago, you was just telling black people how they should do something. And you sitting up here living in a total contradiction, and we would have never known had your personal security camera footage not been released. Anyway, the latest grift is anti-Israel. That's the latest grift. So you have the pro-Israel people, and then you have the anti-Israel people. But I want to back up for a moment, because the problem I'm having with this political content creating thing, which I've been doing since 2020, right? So I'm not new to this, and my politics have always been the same. It's a difference, but I'll put it to you like this. It's like going to church, right? It's one thing to go to church, right? You go to church, you sit in the pew, you hear the beautiful singing, the pastor lays down a great sermon. Oh, Holy Ghost, fire out. Okay, cool. And then you leave, right? You ain't involved in breaking down nothing. You ain't got to talk to nobody if you don't want. You cool. You went, you got your words, you got your blessing, and you got out. That's how my relationship to politics used to be. Now, the difference is where I messed up in church is I decided, one day I had this bright idea. No, actually, lies. One day, the technical director of the church came up to me and she said, I need you to start serving. Biggest mistake ever. But actually, maybe it was a mistake and a blessing all at the same time. But so she comes up to me, she's like, I need you to serve on the tech team. Okay. So I think maybe the next week I was on the tech team. Now the problem is, it's one thing to sit in the pews, hear the beautiful songs, or watch the live stream or whatever. It is another thing to go behind the curtain and really see how this production gets put together. It is totally different. You get to see all of the egos, you get to see the cliques, you get to see who's really in it for God and who's really in it for career opportunities. You really get to see all the humanness that holds this thing up, right? And that's the same thing with politics. I went behind the curtain. I was fine just being a registered Republican, sitting over here, minding my business, being a conservative, not being bothered. Then all of a sudden, Donald Trump becomes president, and I have this bright idea that I can just be outspoken because he's outspoken, and that kind of influenced me to start talking my ish. Now, I was a little bit outspoken about politics in the past, but not a lot, just little smithereens of things here and there, but nothing really significant. And then all of a sudden, yeah, boom. So you go behind the curtain, and then you start to realize basically it's the same thing as church. You see the cliques, you see the people who will do anything to get into the White House. You see the people who really do the work, who are really about it, and they tend to be the ones that don't get the biggest audience, right? Because a lot of times what you have to do, especially as a conservative content creator, and we see it on the other side as well, is you have to be extreme, right? You have to say extreme things. Like look at, for example, like a Harry Sisson, right? Harry Sisson is not expressing his true authentic thoughts because of how extreme they are, right? Nobody naturally is that extreme. Nobody. You're so extreme to the point where everything is about this one person or this one party or this one group. Yeah, it's probably not a good thing. It's probably not something that's organic or authentic, right? And then on our side, we have a Nick Fuentes, right? Like he masks himself as a conservative. This man is not a conservative. This man is a right winger. There's a big difference. Conservatives are very boring, very middle of the road. We're literally libertarian conservative. They're right next to each other on the political spectrum. Libertarians want you completely out of it. And then the conservatives are like, look, we need a little bit of government, but we don't want this craziness, right? And then you'll hear the idiot say, well, conservatives are in the government. No, 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 no. Please stop it right there. Because conservatives try to have the conversation on the ground first. They'll try to have that conversation before they go to the school board, before they start going to do all that stuff, before they start going to their legislators and their leaders. They try to have the conversation on the ground most of the time. They will try to have that conversation with you, right? To show that, hey, not everybody has your perspective and not everybody accepts this. So can there be a compromise of some sort? Oh, no, we can't have one. So you kick a conservative a few times, yeah, they're going to take it up. That's that. So then we're going to take it into the government space because you gave us no choice. We tried to settle it. But conservatives generally are in the center. Those are the true centrists, the libertarians and the conservatives, right? So these crazy people who've infiltrated and start calling themselves conservatives and start being extreme, you're not a conservative. Sorry to break the news to you. But the anti-Israel grift and the pro-Israel grift, because they're both grifts, this has nothing to do with America, patriotism, helping the American people. It has nothing to do with that. You know what this has to do with? Clicks, likes, views, and attention. That's all this is for. That's all that's for. And so when you have me, like when I went to church for the first time, this first church I've ever been a part of, it's again one thing to sit in the pews, is another to go behind the curtain, then go behind the curtain. And now I'm like, what in the hell is this? I'm bored. People are arguing just to argue. Nobody's creating solutions. You got one click over here talking about, oh, Israel, everything Israel does is perfect. And you have one click over here, everything Israel does is terrible. Both are bullshit. The true idea is to sit here, present something that makes sense, that doesn't make sense. That's right, that's wrong. I don't like this, I don't like that, right? But either extreme, ridiculous. And so conservative social media personalities pull up on the scene and they're wearing these extreme hats. And I'll give an example of what's going on right now between Mark Levin and Tucker Carlson. So according to some people, Tucker Carlson is no longer conservative. He's no longer, he's not the same person anymore. He's now anti-Israel, blah, 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 whatever. But here's what makes Tucker Carlson a true conservative. He said to Mark Levin, let's meet at some upcoming Turning Point USA event that's coming. He said, let's have the conversation. Let's get on the stage and debate the ideas, because that's a real conservative. A real conservative wants to come to the table and exchange the ideas and come up with solutions. Mark Levin, no. He's an anti-Semite. He's blah, 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 all of the talking points. All of the extreme talk. I'm not sharing the stage with him and I refuse. Blah, 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 blah. When did we get here? Huh? What, how did we get here? And it's only got worse after Charlie Kirk got assassinated. This got leaps and bounds worse once Charlie Kirk was assassinated, because then we're bringing in the Candace Owens conspiracy theories, right? Charlie Kirk, was about to turn on Israel, and all the stuff she's put in the ether, right? All the stuff that she keeps saying, she just keeps piling on, but she's not really creating any solutions here, right? There's no real substance holding up her arguments. It's just a lot of great theory delivered with amazing confidence. That's Candace Owens. A lot of theory, great confidence. And so it literally feels like it's a fact that she's delivering, right? And it's not a fact. It's a theory. But when you have the ability, when you're a great orator, because Candace Owens is a great orator. She's a great orator. She's great at delivering the message. She knows she knows, just like a pastor, how to make her voice rise and fall on the cadence. She knows how to do that. But folks are arguing just to argue. This is a grift. This is all about money. And I wish I was wired that way, because people who know me, my real friends, they know what I'm sacrificing to do this. Baby. It'll be in the memoir. And so when you know that you have the right intention, you want to be solutionary, you want to actually solve problems, but you're in a cesspool with people who just want to fight to fight. For example, last week on TikTok, there was a live stream going all day where these people were in there fighting over, I don't even know most of the people's names. I don't care. These people are being supported. They're getting all types of gifts. They're likes. The live didn't even go down. I've had live streams go down for nothing. Literally, oh, some blue-haired fugazi doesn't like what AJ said, so now I'm going to report your live. Meanwhile, these people are cursing each other out. They're calling each other everything but a child of God. The live is still up. Why is the live still up? Because people are making money. See the difference? See the difference? Okay, cool. This is about views, likes, and revenue. So when you see people take extreme stances, always question their motives. Like if I ever get extreme with some, like, you good? You good? I don't like the placement of this logo. Hold on, give me a second. Why you didn't tell me the placement of the logo was crazy? Anyway, another thing, conservatives, we don't do cancel culture. Now, there's time where we push back to let companies know we don't like something, a la Cracker Barrel, a la Bud Light, a la Target, right? We'll let you know we don't like something and we'll pull out temporarily until you correct it, right? But this whole, I don't want Tucker Carlson to speak here. I don't want Candace Owens to speak here. And I don't want, no, we should all be able to have the conversation. Otherwise, then what the hell are we doing here? Right? Is this really about shifting America or holding on to the American values that we claim we love so dear? Is that what this really about? Is this really just about your bottom line? Because I would rather you be that honest than the bullshit me. For real, for real. Cancel culture is not what we do. So when you have a Mark Levin, like I just said, calling Tucker Carlson all of those things that they called Donald Trump on the campaign trail, which basically turns the heat up, which basically promotes unsafe conditions for Tucker Carlson, his family, for Candace Owens and her family, for Megyn Kelly and her family, and everybody else involved, and Mark Levin as well. That's what we don't do that here. We don't do, oh, I don't want you to invite this person because they're not, Israel is perfect and we love Israel. No one should say that. Israel is flawed just like the United States is flawed, just like Canada is flawed, just like every country on the face of the earth is flawed. None of us are perfect. We don't have it all figured out. So if it's all great or if it's all bad, you know that these people are probably not the ones you should be listening to. Right? And then the people in the middle, like myself, we don't have as much fun, right? We don't get as much attention. We don't get as much clicks. We don't get as many likes. We don't get as many views because nobody wants to hear reason. And then a lot of times, I'm gonna just keep it frank, a lot of people are just low IQ. They don't want to have that conversation about the actual topic and be solutionary. They just want to live on the hamster wheel of drama. Drama. Did you solve anything? Like I said, every time these live streams go on for 12, 15 hours and people are yelling and screaming at each other. And I'm like, did you solve anything? Was it worth it? What did you accomplish? How much money did you make? Because I don't see, And so since Charlie Kirk was assassinated and all of this stuff starts coming up, And then the Jewish thing starts to get more extreme on both ends, right? And I'm kind of just giving everybody side eye right now. And I'm like, did I make a mistake by getting into political commentary? Was this a mistake? Because I was fine in the pews. I was fine sitting in the pews, clapping. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I was great. Fine. Holy Ghost fired out. Amen. Hallelujah. I was great with that. I was great. Because all this other stuff, I'm not into it, right? I just feel like everyone has a voice, something to contribute, whatever. And if you disagree on something, you should be able to come to the table and have the conversation. I've had literal conservatives have literally shut me out over an opinion they didn't like. Is that a real conservative? No. And we over one opinion. And if that's all it took, was this ever about being solutionary? No, it's not about being solutionary. If it took that little thing for you to go, and the funniest ones is the ones who call themselves conservatives, and then I say or do something they don't like, and then it immediately goes to race. But these are the same people to say they don't see color. But wait a minute, I thought it was. What we doing here? I thought. Okay, fine, whatever. Did I make a mistake? I don't know. And I'm just not in the business of making myself palatable to low IQ broken morons. I'm just not there. I ain't got it. AJ ain't got it. For real. I'm not gonna be like all black people, all white people. 30% of the population. I'm not interested in that. That's not what I'm interested in. And that's why even like doing political commentary or content, it can get monotonous a bit. It can. And we're all multifaceted people, right? So we have other interests and other things that we enjoy. And so that's why, I have a podcast called The Rant Experience, which is every Friday. And that's kind of an opportunity to open up a little bit more into other interests like music and historical facts and it's definitely weighted in politics, but you get to have these other experiences in that 1 hour, and it's not just about complaining about what Jasmine Crockett said or what this person did or what they did. Who cares? Right. Can we get something inspiring? Can we get something solutionary? Can we get something that's funny? Can we get something that's funny? Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, we are not the ones to do that. So a lot of times when I see people, getting on board, calling themselves conservative, while at the same time acting like disgruntled liberals, I gotta kind of call it out. I gotta kind of call it like I see it, because a lot of times folks pick fights just to pick fights. They have disagreements just to have disagreements, and I'm not interested. You want to annoy me? Argue about something stupid. Try to argue with me about something that's dumb. I always say most of the things that people are mad about, you could have a 5-minute conversation and solve it. Literally 5 minutes. Probably don't even need 5 minutes. Boom. Because a lot of times we're talking past each other, not to each other. And a lot of times we're not listening to each other. We're not listening to comprehend somebody. We're listening to react to something we don't like that they say. And that's another thing that annoys and frustrates me, especially when you try to have conversations with the left, but it happens on the right as well. So Is it about patriotism, American values? Or is it about your bottom line? Look, I can't prove it. I can only see what's before me. I can only call the fruit that's being yielded. That's all I got. I ain't got nothing else. But what I do know is that Charlie Kirk's death has been very lucrative. What I do know is that a lot of these disagreements are manufactured. What I do know is that click, likes, and views tend to be more important than the actual message. And so, what I need to see these creators doing right now, if you really about it, is lighting a fire under the Republican Party's ass and letting them know that the 2026 election, you need to be moving like that election is tomorrow. Not like you have all the time in the world to twiddle your thumbs. And then I need somebody to go to Mike Johnson, whoever Mike Johnson's district is. I need you to put in some calls and some emails and tell him, why the hell has the House not been there? Why have they been in recess since September? So because the Senate is having a hiccup, y'all still can't work? Y'all can't work? Because if y'all fumble this 2026 election, I'm going to laugh at y'all. If y'all fumble this 2026 election, I am going to laugh so loud. And it's bad enough I'm already like halfway out the door with the Republican Party. And just like, I think I might serve this whole thing better as an independent than a registered Republican, but I haven't gotten there yet. But don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. You know, I've never seen y'all literally doing what Joe Biden did the first 2 years of his alleged presidency. You had the House, you had the Senate, and you're not getting much through. You have the House, you have the Senate. Where are the solutions for the American people? A lot of executive orders, but what is the Congress doing? Besides the political theater and all of the performances are great. We love the theater. But at some point you have to actually start giving us something to work with. Yeah. There's only so many times you can yell and scream at each other and insult each other and eyelashes and bad built body and whatever. There's only so many times you can do that before a person like me is like, okay, where's the substance? What are we actually doing here? Why were these people sent to Washington? And another thing I want to point out is Sonny Holston on The View. I know, one of our favorite people. Sonny Holston on The View said something that really caught my ear, to the effect of Chuck Schumer doesn't have his caucus in check, pretty much. And then I'm thinking, wait a minute. Senators are sent by the people of their state, not Chuck Schumer. Just like Chuck Schumer was sent, he's New York, right? New York sent Chuck Schumer to Washington. So if I'm a rep from Wyoming and you're telling me I got to follow you because you're the lead, no, that's not how that works. The people of Wyoming said they don't want this shit. The people of whatever, Montana, California, Nebraska, whatever damn state it is, you are sent there by the people of those states, not Chuck Schumer. Now I understand we're human beings. Again, like I said, go behind the curtain, right? So obviously there's a lot of political things in play behind the scenes. Obviously. And people are going to make the right moves so they can make the right career moves. But if you are only in politics for career moves, then you should probably be fired by the people of your state. Now you need to go make career moves somewhere else. Because I didn't send you to Washington to be Chuck Schumer's bitch. Just like I didn't send my rep to Washington to be John Thune's bitch. I sent you there to represent us, me, the people who sent you there. We don't want this. So why are you voting for it or against it? What are you doing? So yeah, we got to get back to a place where it makes sense again. Because this right here don't make no sense. When you literally have a Nick Fuentes talking about he wants to be the new leader of conservatives, he can't be. He's not a conservative. He's a far right bigot. And again, this goes back to me talking about low IQ people. He placates to low IQ young men, broken morons. That's why he's able to galvanize so many and get their support. Because when you say all blacks do this, all Hispanics, all blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm not interested in your extremes. I'm interested in reality. I'm interested in what is really going on here and how do we solve the problems. If I had a Democrat rep and they were playing like if my rep was acting like Rashida Tlaib or Jasmine Crockett or any of those people, I would be like, what the hell are you doing? I didn't send you to Washington to perform. I sent you there to advocate for the things that we need and we want here in our state. I didn't send you there to resist everything Donald Trump proposes. That's not why I sent you there. Because when you push back on the president, like if it's everything Donald Trump does is wrong, that's the wrong rep. It can't be everything's wrong. It can't be. It cannot be. That's like me saying everything Joe Biden did as president was wrong. That would be an extreme, stupid view. I could say he did a lot of stupid things or things that I didn't agree with. There's some things he tried to uphold or expand that I thought were ridiculous. I could say those things. But to sit there and resist just because it's Joe Biden, that's the most flawed, stupid argument you could make in all of this. So no, I don't play in extremes, and neither does any real conservative. No real conservative is playing in extremes. And I don't placate to low IQ. So maybe that's why I'm not number one. I don't know, whatever. I don't even care. I'm building a platform that makes sense, that I can't get trapped in a box. And if I change my mind, so the freak what? I changed my mind. AJsRANT room. And so no, Nick Fuentes can't be a leader of the conservative movement because first of all, he's racist. So racism isn't going to work with conservatives, is it? That works with the right wing, the extremes. You go over there with that, right? I'm going to play 4 reels of black people fighting and say this is all of them. I mean, it's no different. It's no different from what like Tariq Nasheed does. He finds disparaging clips of white people and then he loops them, put them all together and say, oh, these are all the white people. It's all wrong. All of it. It's all wrong. You can't sit here and play in my face. You can't do that. So no, it's not all blacks. It's not all whites. It's not all this. It's not all that, you know. But you got to know what you actually stand for, which is why I made a video. What was it? 2021. I think I made a video where I was just like, what kind of conservative are you? And then there were all these conservatives in the comments. Well, you know, we should stop with the labels and Bro. Conservative is a label. Sorry to break the news to you, but conservative is a label. So what do you label yourself? You're gonna have to take some labels. I mean, come on, like this life. You're gonna need labels at some point. But what we're witnessing is not a split on the right. It's not like, oh, the right is fractured. The right is fractured. How are we ever going to do this? Oh my gosh, it's the end of MAGA. It's the end of No. What you're witnessing is two pockets of people making money. That's what you're witnessing right now. The anti-Israel joint is a grift. The pro-Israel joint is a grift as well. So no, the right's not fractured. America's not going to hell. We need to get solutionary. We need to get back to a place where we are solving problems and not inventing ones for clicks, likes, and views. I said what I said. So I don't want to believe it was all a lie. I don't want to believe that we can't get past this. I think we can. But people got to be willing to come to the table and have the conversations. Even like when Candace Owens left the Daily Wire and folks were like, Candace was trying to debate Ben Shapiro, and he found some clause in her contract where he didn't have to. I mean, contracts can be honored, but contracts can also be renegotiated or broken. And I don't think it would have hurt Ben any to just have the damn conversation with Candace. It wouldn't have hurt. Now, what Candace is doing now with this whole Charlie Kirk, she's like literally every show since September 11th has been about Charlie Kirk. Is it a grift? What do the YouTube numbers say? You tell me. Because I'm not saying one way or the other. All I'm saying is look at the fruit. If I came up here every day and I just espouse conspiracy, and I just keep and I keep giving you just a little bit, you're gonna keep coming back, right? It's kind of like I think Maj Touré said this. It's kind of like this is why they tell you not to feed not to feed the animals in the national parks, because they're just gonna keep coming back, and then they'll stop, moving in their natural habitat, and they'll just come and get their fix from you, as opposed to you going or do your own homework and your own research and your own reading and watching the documentaries yourself. But I'm bored. I'm bored with these extremists masking themselves as conservatives. I'm done. I'm bored. We literally wait. What did Samuel L. Jackson say in Do the Right Thing? Chill out. Everybody chill the fuck out. I'm paraphrasing. That's something along those lines. But he was the DJ, and he had the radio station that was in the window, and everybody was fighting, calling each other all these racial things. He was like, "Chill out." Oh God. And so I think Mark Levin should get on stage and have the debate. I think Ben Shapiro should get on stage and have the debate. I think anybody else who has an issue with Charlie Kirk or how Charlie, you think Charlie, I mean, the conspiracies around how this man was assassinated is just so crazy to me at this point. We have literally gone off the deep end. I mean, down so many rabbit holes, not we, but other folks have gone down so many rabbit holes, telling his widow how she should be grieving and when she should cry and how she hugged the vice president, which is literally how she hugs females too. So now we're going to say she's scissoring? God, I can't. And if you watch Erica Kirk's interview with Jesse Waters, I believe it was last week, you could literally see that's a woman grieving. And so, and you're grieving and life has to go on. That's the hard part. Life has to go on. Like you can't sit back and live in September 9th of your life. Like you can't, you can't live in the September 9th version of your life. That's over, you know. And so now you have to figure out, what is this? How do I move forward and still grieve and still make sure everything stays afloat? Will Turning Point USA ever be the same? No. No, because the person who founded it, who understood it the most, is no longer here. And it doesn't matter who takes over from here. It's still never going to be the same, because the intention is different. And then once you start adding all of these big money donors into the mix, you definitely change the culture. And I believe one of the last videos of Candace that I watched was about when did Turning Point USA become so Christian? Like, when did they become so religious focused? And she's trying to tie this to, of course, Israel. And how Israel got involved and made them super religious or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole. And what was it all for? Clicks, for likes, for views, and cash. That's it. We need to get back to solutions. We need to get back to actually protecting our country, because right now we have a country that is pushing an agenda. We have literally half of our electorate is pushing some sort of agenda because they think this is good for the American people. And what they don't understand about this group of people that they're sweating right now is that these group of people don't assimilate. They don't assimilate. They don't respect Christianity. We can tell they don't respect Christianity. How? By what's going on in Sudan and Nigeria. We can tell. The Republic of Congo. You can tell by the things they've been saying since y'all elected Muma Bam 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 up in New York. As soon as he was elected, it wasn't but 2 seconds later. Islam needs to be everywhere. Islam in every home. Islam. Get the hell out of here. So we got to get back to actually fighting the real enemy, the real fight. There's all this other stuff. I oh God. You know what, Prince? Oh man. But see, Jay Lee, according to Miss Owens, I'm sorry, Mrs. Owens Farmer, TPUSA started out as a what did she say? It was a political movement, but it was more I forgot the word she used, but then she said there was a shift. So listen, I was kind of there in the beginning of TP, like in terms of like watching the videos or whatever, but I don't really know. Uh, and of course, I mean, an organization can start one way and then morph and move in other ways. That's just what happens in life. But again, this silliness, this infighting for just to infight, nah. I understand it's very lucrative, but I'm not interested. It's kind of like with church. When I went behind the curtain in the church, I said, I don't like this. I don't like the people being rude to. We're supposed to be here. First of all, I'm volunteering, so we already know I already got a problem with giving away my time for free. There's that factor, even if it's for the Lord. I'm still working for free, and now I got to deal with the same stuff that I deal with in the real world. People clicking up, people being rude, people don't want you here, people threatened by you, and I'm like, bro, I'm just here to serve. I don't care. I'm not trying to be president of the pastor association or whatever. I don't care about any of that. None of that's relevant to me. I don't care. I'm not looking for a job here at the church. I don't care. I'm here to serve. I'm here to take my talents and use them as I see fit. That's it. That's all I got. But all this other stuff, not interested. So again, with the politics, we need to be lighting a fire under the Republican Party's arse and letting them know that what they're doing is not working. When they I think they're back in session today, and then they're going to probably take off at the end of the month and then probably come back for a couple more weeks. I don't know how it works, but I got to look at the schedule. And I'm just like, it made no sense that Congress was in, the House was in recess since September. I believe it was September 18th. Since they passed the continuing resolution, the House has been in recess. And now today, I believe Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats are going to present a bill to expand the ACA subsidies 3 years. That's not going to pass. And hopefully that doesn't create any more trauma and drama in the Senate, where then like the 8 Democrats that did support don't support. And I'm like, look, we just need to get the government open. That's the most essential thing. You know, one of our busiest travel days is coming up. We need to get everything ready to go. And because this silliness, no. So this is where we need to be. In the solutionary lane, not in the lane of complaining, not in the lane of you're pro-Jew, you're anti-Jew, you're anti-Semitic. I don't believe Tucker Carlson's anti-Semitic. Do I believe some of his views have changed? Yes, but I don't believe he's anti-Semitic. I've heard anti-Semitism. Prince, shut up. Now, I've heard anti-Semitism. I've witnessed it. And the stuff that these people are fighting over, it ain't it. It ain't it. And so let's get out of Gaza. That ain't got nothing to do with the United States. Let's get back over to the mainland and have the conversations over here. Cool? We good now? All right. Thank y'all so much. Hopefully I got it all out. Let me see. Had a couple bullet points. Let me see if I got through all my bullet points. Yeah, I got through all my bullet points. Yes. All right, cool. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. If you would like to support the channel, you can go over to AJsRANTroom.com. That's AJsRANTroom.com. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it. If you would like to buy me a coffee, or in this case, a tea, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/AJsRantRoom, or you can just scan this QR code right there on your screen. We also accept Cash Apps at AJsRANT. And this is how you can support the movement as well. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Is there anything else? Oh, we have we have a great rant experience this Friday, so I can't wait to share that with y'all. But anyway, thank y'all. I appreciate you. I will catch y'all mañana. Hasta luego.